Hello, I'm Lee Blickley from HuffPost, and welcome to Build Series. Today, actor Taye Diggs is here to talk about his recent success, All American, which just hit Netflix. The series follows his character, high school coach Billy Baker, who recruits a young, rising football player named Spencer James from South L.A. to play for Beverly Hills High. It touches on many topics relevant to our communities today, including identity and family, and impress viewers and critics alike. Taye will also share some of his future projects, but first, let's watch a clip from All American. Everyone, let's welcome Taye Diggs.
Hey.
A wonderful crowd today.
Thank you,
We
guys.
got some
Thank
Taye
you,
Diggs lovers in the house, huh? How are you? Thanks for being here.
I'm well. Thank you for having me. Very excited.
I have to say, I was, going through your social media channels, and I saw some videos where you like to sing to your followers. Tell me about that.
That's on Instagram. I'm silly on that platform, and it's fun. It's kind of therapeutic for me.
Yeah. I know. I saw a recent one where you were just singing about your love for New Girl.
Yeah, it was awesome. I was homesick, and I've had Netflix, but I'm technologically I'm off, so it took me a while to figure out what the password. I finally got it set up, and you guys, Netflix is awesome. I was binge watching New Girl. It's so great. It's even got me just excited. Like when an episode stops, and then it's like the next episode gets me so psyched. It's awesome.
But then you can't get anything. I mean, I can't get anything done.
Well, I was
Netflix
sick, so I had the excuse. But
that's what
I'm loving it.
Yeah, you're hoping. I'm sure that is what happens with All American because this show
happening.
is on CW.
Yeah,
and now it hit Netflix.
Exactly, it was on CW. We got good reviews. We had our audience, but then once Netflix got a hold of it, it's been amazing. It's like the outreach is crazy.
Yeah, talk about that. Seeing a show that you worked so hard on, and it did well, but then it gets on Netflix and it reaches a whole new viewership.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I was visiting a friend in Amsterdam, and I'm an actor. I'm always thinking about myself. So it's a trip when you realize how far-reaching what we do. The effect that it can have and on as many people. It's really cool.
So tell me about the role of Billy Baker, because this is an interesting part to play, a coach, but then you also, the show talks about so many relevant topics in our world today, so it kind of mixes both those worlds.
100%. It's a type of role. I've never played a role like this. I've been really lucky. I've been around a minute. So I've played the doctors, I've played the lawyers, I've played the cops, I've been assassins and killer, all that. But this one, it kind of seemed boring, the description. But then once I read the script and was made aware of all of the range, So this guy's a parent, he's a black man. Got unlucky, was in the NFL, injured himself. Now he's a high school coach, so already you're dealing with those issues and ego and pride. He has a family, he's married to a white woman, so there's an interracial element in there. His kids are mixed in, a very affluent neighborhood. So you have, this man kind of struggling from, what it was like growing up, having aspirations, reaching them, falling from that, but still being in, this having a certain lifestyle, all of that, and then you add high school football, and him being kind of a role model for his sons, for his family, and also a team. These young men that are growing up, trying to show them how to do the right thing when he's dealing with issues where sometimes he makes wrong choices himself. So it's great. I'm having a really good time. And then, through that, the kids are dealing with race and sex and, all of these issues that I think are very relevant, even more so today than before.
And of course, you find this rising football star in Spencer, who kind of has a similar background to what your character 100%. Went through, where you recruit him to come to, like you said, Beverly Hills High, which is more affluent, from, I think, Crenshaw.
Yes, South Central. So that's cool. So you have that that element of a tale of two cities, a fish out of water. The cute black guy in the mostly white neighborhood, and him being an athlete, and those stereotypes. I think it's really classy how the writers and the network, have taken all of these issues and made it simple to watch and accessible.
Yeah. And then you also have the dynamic between you and your son, but also you and Spencer, which kind of creates a little more tension there. Can you talk about that dynamic of, recruiting someone who you know is super talented, but then also having a son that you want to make sure he feels loved and appreciated and given a chance?
I think it's great that these networks are making the choice to kind of dig into these matters. Well, for example, I am a dark-skinned black man. Like growing up, there was an issue, between the dark-skinned and the light-skinned. We could all get along, but we each thought something different deep down about each other that was all kind of made up in our heads. So I always grew up thinking the light-skinned people had it better. You know what I mean? Everybody always wanted the light-skinned girls. The girls always wanted the light-skinned guys. They deal with that, on the show. Spencer, the young man that I invite into my home from South Central, he's dark-skinned, and my son is light-skinned. You would think there's a moment in the season where my son asks me, once he sees, all that me and Spencer have in common, he asks me if he wants to know if I think he's black enough. And when I saw that in writing, I was like, these guys are brave, because, we're always, when growing up black, however that is, whatever that means to you, these are the questions that you are either asked or that you ask of yourself. And I love that this is a show that tackles that.
Yeah, and I know you also have a son who's biracial.
100%.
Did this storyline or these storylines help you, to think about your future and how you'll tell your son or talk to your son about situations?
Well, I learned the lesson very early. Like my son is, I'm letting that kind of play out on its own, because this show is affecting him in a completely different way. He's 9 years old, so he hasn't dealt with a lot of this stuff yet. But I write children's books as well. And the first children's book I wrote is titled Chocolate Me. And it's about this time in my life. I was 5 years old, and my parents had moved to an all-white neighborhood. I was the only black kid. And I had like 3 or 4 white friends. And I remember one day they looked at me, and they looked at the insides of my hands and the outsides. And they were completely, well-meaning. They were just curious, because we were 5. And they said, "Why is the outside of your skin dirty when the inside seemed clean?" And I didn't know what to say. I knew it was off, so I went in and had a whole big discussion with my mother, and she explained everything, and she compared being black to chocolate. So from that point on, chocolate meant something different, and I wrote the book about that. So when the book came out, my kid was born, and I felt so proud that I could read this book to my child. Like, it meant so much to me. I was just thinking about me. But I didn't realize that before I read this book to my kid, he wasn't seeing anybody like that. He saw everybody as the same. Mm-hmm. I introduced the difference to him, so then he started calling people chocolate and vanilla. Oh. And I was like, I fucked that up a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, instead of just letting life play out and let him come to me, like I went to my mother, I kind of put it upon him. He's fine, but that gave me a lesson in, let me just chill out, wait, and see what life does, and then I can answer that instead of trying to get ahead of it. So I'm gonna chill out. Like, he doesn't know anything about that yet. So when he watches a show, he's just watching good TV. Do you know what I mean? Or he's watching what happens, to this make-believe family. So I'm gonna wait on that stuff.
Yeah, but that's so nice that you could see life kind of through his eyes. It's so nice that a child is so innocent and he doesn't see the differences, and that's how it should be.
Yeah. And his life is different. He's where he goes to school, the white kids are the minority. You know what I mean? Times can be tough. They always will be. But we've come a long way, and I love being able to see that through my son. You know what I mean? The things that they're teaching at school these days, if you can get your kid into one of these schools, it can be pretty awesome.
Can you talk a little bit about your childhood? Where did you grow up? In New Jersey, right?
I was born in New Jersey. I have no memory of it because my mom moved right after I was born, and then grew up upstate New York. You know, poor food stamps, the whole thing. We moved around a lot. And then high school, School of the Arts. That's where kind of my life changed, where I was actually had something to focus on, and I grew ambitious. And then college at Syracuse University, majored in theater, and then graduated and was off to the races.
Yeah. And is that soon after that? Did you book Rent? When did Rent come along?
Rent was the second Broadway show. Yeah, I remember I was very confident growing up. Once high school kind of gave me that stamp of approval that said, you know, you have a certain amount of talent, you're gonna make it. I just took that and ran with it. So I remember graduating high school. You know, everybody said you had to move to New York, get a survival job, get a place, you know, that was cheap for rent, and then audition. So I remember I got a job at Pizzeria Uno on Upper East Side. I was too anxious to be a waiter because I was like, I can't remember all that stuff and then have to deal with people's food. So I just was a host. And I remember there were two other young ladies that I would host with. And you know, first day at work, everybody's asking what you do. I said I'm an actor, and I remember one of the women, she like scoffed and was like, as if like this is what everybody does. And I remember that. It didn't sit well with me, so I said, watch. In 6 months, I'll either have my own TV show, be in a movie, or on Broadway. And in 6 months, I was on Broadway. I have a list. I was on Broadway in 6 months, guys.
Did you find that lady?
No, I mean, no. I don't know. I don't know. I hope she's doing well.
Just wave to her, be like, hi.
If she's not, I'll feel bad. But I mean, but you know, it wasn't for me. It wasn't even it was like I knew it. It wasn't like it was like I knew. I knew it.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, you know, and yeah, it worked out.
Now, you know, being on Broadway then, we've seen diversity really increase on Broadway and in film and TV. And then we had Hamilton recently. When you think back to when you were first getting into the business, how has it changed for you? And are you proud to see the progress?
So much so. So much so. Like I remember, and you know, having a kid, it just makes it all that much more, it's in my face, and it makes me appreciate it that much more. It really hit me when I was watching Black Panther with him, because I remember at one moment like crying for myself in that I never knew that this time, or I was relieved that finally this time had come where, you know, it was like finally the world not the world was seeing something the way I've seen it my entire life, where it was like finally you get it, like we can do this. We've been here the whole time. Why is it taking you so long? But at least now you know. You know what I mean? But with him, it was just a movie. And that's what I loved. Like it wasn't, he just dug it. Like it wasn't a thing that he was seeing a superhero that looked like him. That was just, you know what I mean? When I grew up, I had to go and find and wait for the Blade or wait for, you know, a really bad version of some black superhero. But for him, it's just a superhero movie, and it was awesome. You know what I mean? So that was really cool.
Oh, it's so good. And then, you know, Black Panther, and then we also had Crazy Rich Asians, and we just have so many movies now where people can see themselves. But like you said, your son is just...
That's just regular. It's just going to see a movie. Not a black superhero movie, just a movie for him. And that's, not, you know, hopefully it'll stay like that. But at least for that moment, it was really cool.
Does your son know who you are? Does he like, my dad's Taye Diggs?
I mean, only when he's, you know, only when he's trying to brag. Like, he hates it when I sing around the house. You know, he's at that age where he's very aware of other people watching, so he's trying to be the cool kid. I went to his school and read a couple of my books, and he was proud then. You know, he wanted to come and sit on my lap and read with me, so that was cool. But you know, that's part of being a parent is accepting that you know your kids are gonna hate you sometimes.
Yeah. Well, then he also has Adina Menzel as a mom, which is like
I
another
know,
icon.
I
It's like,
know,
gosh,
right?
that kid he's lucky.
Yeah, we were watching something in the trailer for Frozen 2 came on, and he went, "Ah, here we go."
He's not a Frozen fan.
I said, "That Frozen paid for those damn sneakers. You better watch that preview."
So you've had, you've had this show, you've had past shows, but you've
Yeah.
also dipped your toes into hosting recently. And I know that you hosted the Critics' Choice Awards, and they asked you back, which is awesome. I'm excited about that. 'Cause
Yeah,
you did a
that
great
was
job.
fun. That was I'm getting to the age where I'm really trying to kind of do some of the things that I'm terrified of. And that was one of those things where it always looked really fun, to watch those hosts kind of, it's almost like a three-ring circus type of deal. I've always thought I had what maybe it could be fun, but how scary it would be with other actors that I love in the audience and whatnot. So the opportunity presented itself, and I just said yes, and it worked out. It was cool. It was really really cool. I enjoyed. There's that live element of like theater. There's the the pressure of the people that you kind of look up to and work with in the audience, and then there's just that show business quality that's a lot of fun. So I'm nervous again, but I'm excited to get up there one more time.
Yeah, what goes on behind the scenes when you're hosting an award show? Do you kind of like prep months in advance, prep your jokes and figure it out?
No, I mean the jokes are changing constantly.
Be hip,
Yeah. It's that element. I'm trying to be relaxed and just for me, I can't get tense. You know what I mean? I got to stay relaxed, and keep that element of fun. Because if I'm having fun, then you can't really mess up. If you mess up, it's still fun. You know what I mean? And just focus on that next segment. You know what I mean? And it's cool.
But
It's
in front
really,
of a
really
room
cool.
of A-list celebrities.
Yeah. Well,
But
yeah.
friends too, I'm sure. Right?
Exactly. But it's surprisingly supportive.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Once you're out there and you really see everybody rooting for you. You know what I mean? Because they're there to have a good time as well. They want to win, but there's drinks and there's dinner and it's like a yearbook of everybody's glad to see each other. So it's a fun room.
And so you have this new show, right? Hypnotize Me. I think it's
Oh,
called?
game
Where you're
shows.
hosting a game show. That's fun.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm the host of this game show where there's this big money, and you have contestants. The contestants have to do these very seemingly easy tasks, but they get hypnotized, and the hypnotist makes them do stuff that makes getting the money difficult. So it's crazy. That stuff really works, y'all. It's
So
a
it's
trip.
based on like a UK show, right? Is
Yes,
that where
100%. It was very popular in the UK. We brought it over here, and CW is brave enough to give it a try.
Well, I love how the game shows are kind of making like they're coming back.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love being on them too.
Yeah.
I love being on them. It's great. It's really cool to grow up, kind of loving something, and then to be old enough to be actually doing it is really cool.
That's awesome. Well, good things. I mean,
Thank you.
tons
It's
of
a
good
good
things.
time.
I know we have some questions from the
Okay.
audience.
Cool.
So let's throw it to the first person. Who's first? Here we go.
Hi, my name is Shantae.
Shantae.
Yes.
I have a production company named Shantae.
Oh, okay. Well, I've learned
Are you
so
part
much.
of Shantae?
Hopefully.
Are you in my
well,
production
can I
company?
be? I don't know.
Ray B.
I named it
Ray
Shantae.
B,
All right.
exactly.
Yeah, well, I've learned so much from watching All American personally about myself and my family. I wanted to know, is there something that you personally learned that you didn't expect to learn going into the show?
Ooh, good question. I'm learning about my like I'm almost 50, and most of my cast members are, I think, I don't know, they're early to mid 20s, and I'm learning about them. You know what I mean? About young people today. I did not expect that. I expected this to be just a good gig. But as you can imagine, you're on set, you're spending a lot of time, and we have really really interesting and deep conversations. And because I'm a father, I'm looking at life differently, and I'm really listening to these young people as opposed to just kind of blowing them off and calling them just they're just young. That's just how kids are today. I'm really getting to know these cats, and I'm thankful for that. That helps me, I think, grow as a person. It helps me be more understanding in general. And they're good people. You know what I mean? I got a good quality cast with me, so I'm thankful for that.
You're almost 50. He looks like 25.
I know, right?
You
You
don't
heard.
age.
Good black, don't crack. Okay.
You lay in bed every night with your facial mask on. I know you.
Shoot.
We got time for two more. Here we go.
Hi, my name's Camilla.
Hi, Camilla.
And I wanted to know, how has TV affected your life?
I can afford things. I like to buy things, and because of TV, I can do that. How? I mean, it's just. Well, today it's just a great time to be an actor today because there's so much. There's so much, and with the luck that I've had, you can create. So there are things that I never thought I could or would be able to do, but because TV is because so much is being done on TV, I can do what I want. You know what I mean? I can have a dream. It can be small, but there's a way with all of these platforms and with social media and your phone, you can do whatever you want today. Yeah, there you go. You can do it. There's no it's tough for the ones that are starting out because there's really no excuse because you can do it. Like when I was growing up, you really had to wait for an opportunity. You don't have to wait for shit these days. You can do something, post it, and if people like it, boom. So there's no excuse. If you got a dream, get on it. So I think that's great. That's how it's helped me. You know what I mean? I'm able to live out my dreams.
Okay, we have time for one last question.
Hi, so my name is Jay.
Hi, Jay.
Okay, so I love Rent so much, by the way. My favorite song is actually You'll See. So thank you for that one. My question is, how easy or hard is it for you to change into different characters? So I know Benny is like a character you'd want to punch, but how different is Benny from the character you play on All American?
I mean, it's different, very, very, very different. That's the
Watch Billy Baker sing.
coach. I mean, I'm sure they'll figure something out. It's I don't. I see it as fun. You know what I mean? When something's fun, that takes kind of the difficulty out of it. But that's the enjoyment of playing different roles. There was a point in my life when I really didn't want to. I wanted to kind of chill back and play the guy with the suit who gets to kiss a girl. That was easy. And then as I got a little older, that got boring. I wanted to do a little bit more. And be careful what you ask for because it'll come. And I enjoy that. So it's it all kind of takes place in the moment. You know what I mean? It's hard to say what's easier. Theater is more difficult just because you have to. There are so many more elements that you have to take into consideration. Taking care of yourself and getting to bed early and not drinking as much and keeping your body in a certain physical shape so that you can sustain yourself. But then again, it's I love being on stage, so it's part of it. So I'm happy for all of it. Yeah.
I love seeing you and Set It Up too, a rom-com.
That
Your
was
rom-com
so
days
much
came
fun.
back.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to get back into those romantic
You need another
comedies.
Best Man, right?
Yeah.
Best Man.
Yeah. Oh, it's coming.
Oh, yeah.
It's coming. It's definitely coming.
You heard it here, people. Well, All American is streaming now, and thank you so much, Taye, for being here.
Guys.
This is great.
Thank you guys. Good stuff. All right.